To education through schools. It is focusing upon issues related to water due to its scarcity in the West Bank and Jerusalem area. We are focusing upon food security for those who are most vulnerable and affected by the wall and settlements in the West Bank area, in particular in the north, where there is a concentration in terms of settlement and control of resources. Accordingly, food security is one of our main components. On the other hand, we have the loan program. With the loan program, we are serving, it was frozen for a period of time, which was until 2010. And beyond the 2010, we started activating it with a new policy, and now it is functional and operational. And this loan program worth is approximately $800,000, and now we are putting it in. So we have restructured the loan program, and now it is available, and we made the announcement with the help of all the local churches who were very responsive, and it is now within reach for all people from all areas, north or south, and there has been a great deal of people who approached us for loans, and they are doing excellently well in terms of repayment. So this is...
We have been also appealing for an emergency fund from ACT Geneva, Action by Churches Together, and we were able to generate more than $10 million over the last year. And in the SPR we have been working in three sectors, mainly education, health, and community development. 50% of our budget goes to Gaza, actually. We have the largest program in Gaza, and in addition to all of that, as my colleague said, we have the educational program, the loan fund program, and it's almost around $4 million. Four of our area committees work with the loans, West Bank, Gaza, Jordan, and in Israel.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Before finishing, I just want to inform you that we have two meetings of the Central Committee per year. Our first annual meeting for 2013 will be on the 9th of May, and most probably it will be in Amman. Until now the venue was not recognized. Be sure that we will send an invitation for you and an informative issue about the agenda of that meeting. Now, I hope that after that date we will have a second official meeting in which we will brief the whole head of churches in Jerusalem about our program for the 2013 and about the annual program of 2012. So that date will be much better if you can appoint accordingly to, because at least 3 persons of us who are an employee in the DSPR would like to have visas, so we have to have enough time before appointing the date of that meeting.
Will the meeting take place here in Jerusalem or in Jordan?
In Jerusalem.
Through the Latin Patriarch. No, it's interesting because we also spend a lot of money on education.
That's right.
You know, and a lot of money comes from our own pocket on education. And one of the things that I'm just curious about is that I know that there's a lot of institutions that give a lot of help specifically to Christians. But I do, this is kind of off the record though, but I often hear Christians complain that the churches aren't helping them enough, which I think is a very unfair charge considering the amount of help that's coming. Now, and then you look at all the institutions, all the Catholic institutions, you know, the Latin Patriarchate, the Custody, the Pontifical Mission, CRS, Caritas, who's doing this, who's doing that, who's not doing something, whatever. But it amounts to a huge amount of aid per capita, and still they say, well, they don't help us, they just help the Muslims. And that's also, I think, one day a charge that needs to be addressed head on.
Your Beatitude, if I may put a remark there, I agree with all that has been said. Faith-based organizations are the second largest employer in the West Bank. They employ 26,000 employees in their different structures and organizations, schools or other organizations. And it is true, we are all contributing a lot and we are doing a lot, but there is an issue of visibility that is weak there. The Anglican Church is very visible in Nablus, is very visible in Gaza,
Right.
through their structures. The Orthodox Church through the schools, and the Catholics are very much active on the education level. But there is an issue of visibility at the church level at least. So I think maybe if we can go for a common joint strategy of sharing information at the church level,
That's right.
once a year, for example, at all communities and congregations, to sensitize people that the church is active, and it is truly active, but at least people would start to, okay, now we know. And this is maybe a deficiency that we all face. We are very active on the work, and we do it in a way like Jesus told us, let your left hand not know what your right hand is. And we do it humbly, and I do agree with this principle. But today I think we have to focus upon a joint strategy with the churches on visibility issues at least once a year.
But also we like as Palestinians to complain. It's a national hobby, you know. We like always to complain, you know. I should have been saying
doing very good work and earning good money and saying we want to be independent, you know. And therefore, what I hope for, I know this is not the SPR, but what I'm hoping for is for the churches and church leadership to really link up with these young people. Many of them, by the way, are working in Ramallah. And they go each day from Jerusalem to Ramallah. And many of them are Christians and highly professional, you know, and they work in all kinds of institutions. So we want to get to them. And these are not the complaining people, by the way. And therefore we need to get out of this complaining complex, you know.
Bernard, we have a half an hour on the meeting, so
No.
they are busy. The last point, Your President, I would like to put on the table, not now for discussion, a very serious issue in my point of view, which is the European churches nowadays are opening offices as charity in our region. I think this is very serious, and head of churches have to take action on this issue. Usually it was only an NGOs. Now, the Norwegian Church Aid has an office in Amman, has an office in Jerusalem. Danish Church Aid have the same issue, and I think that this is something which will interfere the relations between our churches, the traditional ones in the region, and the new coming churches in our area.
The European Union, right? It was on the highest level, and it was very successful because what made clear there that the European Union provides huge, it's not an exaggeration, huge amount of money. It's, if you listen to the numbers, you won't believe what money is available. It's unbelievable. So those people, you know, they so far they have totally disregarded and discarded the church. No separation between the church and the state, right? But now they have realized that they need the church very much. So why? Because now European Union is investing a lot in Africa and in here, of course, right? And they realize that without our assistance, without our consultation, they cannot do anything because of the violence, because of the role of religion today, right? So our point was heard and on the highest level. And what is good is that now the European Union has already appointed. They have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So there is a special department which is in charge of dialogue, reaching to religious groups like in Nigeria, you know what is going on there, right? And this is very good. So if we, what you said, we put this in this frame, I think we can work. At the same time, here, we have to be always a bit reserved and cautious, because we don't want, in the name of helping or donating for refugees, etc., to have other kinds of activities. This is not good, not for us only, but for our countries, the Palestinian Authority, the Palestinian state, let us say, and Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. It is true, and thankful, that there is full cooperation between us and the Palestinian Authority and the Jordanians in this respect, because they have all sorts of problems, all sorts of groups in the name of providing charity, self, whatever. They want to establish themselves here, but you don't know who is behind, what are the motivations, right? So here we have to be, but we have to be careful. But I think we can continue not to be afraid of anything, of all those incoming newcomers, right? The very moment there is coordination between us and we know what we are doing and we present our activities in the post-official way.
Well, see, let me say something, that those European churches, instead of Norwegian others, they are big donors to the health institution.
Right.
And they have transparency. And we know that we've been working with them long ago. And they respect their churches. We have nothing against the churches. But because they are government-based organizations, they have to report to their governments. Right. Like what you have said about the European Union. It's good to keep, dialogue with them or contacts.
No,
and we can express our...
we do have...
we do have.
Yes, I mean, many delegations now are coming here, then they go to Amman, and through our office there for the Middle East churches, I think we're doing a very good...
As the Bishop referred, my point was that they are supporting much more Islamic institutions, NGOs, than Christian-related.
Well, there are
This is my main objection. I don't mind, but it must be through the church.
Doctor, and we serve the Muslims. 99% of those who receive our services are Muslims. This is part of our mission and witness here.
Because of that, I put it on the table for this.
But our problem is not with the official churches. Right?
No.
Our problem is that certain Christian groups, that they declare themselves that they are
the evangelical groups who come...
like Jehovah Witness, I don't know, some Baptists, all those charismatics, they are causing a lot of troubles. They do damage to us. Why? Because they go. I tell you a little example. In the Zatari camp, there were some such groups. They took advantage. They went there in order to help. And what they were doing, they were living next to those poor refugees, Bibles. And all of them were Muslims. And you understand the embarrassment, right? And then the blame goes to us, because they say, look what the Christians are doing, right?
After your permission, your beatitude, and your eminences, you are correct, your eminence, it is true. These international church-related organizations, we do respect them and we do cooperate and we have a historic relationship with them, on one hand. And we do recognize that they have the right to have officers in the area to monitor their programs. They have the full right to do so. What the sensitivity is, where the sensitivity is simply on, if you are a church organization, European or US or North American, you are fundraising and you come and implement. And this is where these international church-related organizations are collecting funds, and at the same time they are becoming implementers of respect for the existing national church-related organizations whom they are always willing to cooperate with them, coordinate, facilitate, and this is a healthy relationship. rather than become a competitor within the national structure. That's it.
If you allow me to
I think we have to go because
No, we are free. I told you, Yanni, we appreciate it. And now we know what is going on, and as long as there is this coordination, I don't think that we can be afraid of anything.
Always it will.
Right? Let us have
Yeah.
the picture now.
Yes.
It's
It's a video.
She became an expert. Right. So you can talk.
And this also is afterwards, okay?
You're not